A key motif in the Divine Comedy is that of pity. We've seen how, in the ancient pagan world, the idea of pity was often conceived as something negative. Pity and empathy for another person were thought to lead to a weakness of will and lack of resolution that, in turn, creates other problems. In Thucydides, we saw how, during the Peloponnesian War, the general Cleon told his fellow Athenians to forget their pity for the towns subjected to the Athenian imperial power, since this would undermine their empire and they would thereby put themselves at risk. Similarly, in Sophocles, the herdsman's pity for the infant Oedipus was the reason for him saving the child, but this resulted in all the subsequent pain and suffering experienced by Oedipus, his family, and the entire city of Thebes. Thrasymachus in the Republic and Callicles in the Gorgias both argue that justice is nothing more than the strong exercising their strength, which means oppressing the weak. With this conception of justice, there's no reason for the strong to experience any sense of pity, since they're simply acting in accordance with their own character. A lion does not feel pity for its prey, and so why should a strong human being? Both are just acting in a way that's been determined by nature. Now, with the Christian worldview, the idea of pity takes on a positive meaning. Pity is something important in the ethical life of human beings. We discussed above one of Jesus' ethical maxims. Quote, "In everything, do to others as you would have them do to you." This encourages people, before acting, to compare their own situation with that of others. Jesus tells his auditors that it's important to see things from the perspective of the other person, and that this should play a role in the determination of our own actions. If we feel pity for another person, it means that we have the ability to imagine ourselves in their situation and feel how they must feel. According to the Christian view, this is an important ethical sentiment. The ability to feel another person's pain is the first step towards alleviating it. Suffice it to say that this is a higher ethical view than the one that says we should be indifferent to the sufferings of others, even if we're the cause of it. The idea of pity is also an important one in the Divine Comedy. In the first canto, there's a long description of the strange landscape that Dante finds himself in. Then he sees Virgil coming towards him and calls out to him for help. Quote, "And when I saw him standing in this wasteland, 'Have pity on my soul,' I cried to him, 'whichever you are, shade or living man.'" These are the first words that Dante speaks in the entire text, and he appeals to pity. It should be noted that at first glance, he still does not know the identity of Virgil and is thus appealing to a stranger for help. As we've seen, there's a series of divine figures that have each in turn asked Virgil to intervene as a spiritual guide for Dante: the Virgin Mary, Lucia, and Beatrice. There's thus a recognition of the fact that human beings are not entirely self-sufficient and occasionally need the assistance of others. The idea of pity is a recognition of this. Dante again signals the importance of this motif at the beginning of his journey with Virgil at the start of the second canto, where we read, quote, "The day was fading, and the darkening air was releasing all the creatures on our earth from their daily tasks, and I, one man alone, was making ready to endure the battle of the journey and of the pity it involved." This suggests that pity plays an important role in his undertaking. As we've noted, his inward spiritual struggle is portrayed as a journey which is intended to be an echo of the outward journeys of Odysseus and Aeneas. Similarly, his personal struggle is compared to an inward battle, which again is a reflection of the outward battles fought by the Greek and Roman heroes. Finally, in his struggle with faith, he stands as a single individual, one man alone. Although he's given divine assistance, and Mary, Lucia, and Beatrice have pity on him, the story of the Divine Comedy is about the spiritual journey of a single man. Each of us must take our own path to faith and spiritual redemption, and this one is Dante's. Here we can see the value of inwardness, subjectivity, and individuality all emphasized.